We're back on the SportsMax Zone and bowling things off with cricket. The touring West Indies are eyeing a first Test series win in England since 1988 and take a 1-0 lead into the second and penultimate match of the series. Old Trafford is the venue. They start Thursday morning Caribbean time. The West Indies captain Jason Holder says the team remains grounded and focused on the next battle.
It's a series that we're playing, whether we're playing against Bangladesh, Pakistan, England or Australia is a series. Then whenever we start a series, we want to win the series. Winning the first Test match is just one piece to the puzzle. We've got 2 other games to play, and we don't get ahead of ourselves, to be honest. That's the last thing that we could ever do in terms of getting complacent and getting too far ahead. So more or less, again, all I've said before is us starting fresh. 10 solid days of cricket. Basically repeating myself when it comes to our outlook on this series. Yes, we've won one game, but that doesn't change anything for us and our strategies into executing our team plans. So having Joe Root coming back in for England again is an added boost. He's a world-class player. They've got world-class players, as I've always said, and they're a top cricket side, especially in their backyard. So if we're going to win a series here, we've got our work cut out. We've got to play some solid cricket, but not playing solid cricket for one game. We've got to back it up. And this is the second Test match that's come. The last Test match is Southampton's gone. So all to play for here in this second one.
West Indies captain Jason Holder there. The first Test defeat has prompted England to ring in the changes. Out go fast bowlers Mark Wood and Jimmy Anderson, who are rested, along with batsman Joe Denley. All-rounder Sam Curran and rookie pacer Ollie Robinson have been called up, while skipper Joe Root returns to the squad. The historical pitch report at Old Trafford suggests the track should be favourable to fast bowling. The fast men are averaging 28.44 per wicket compared to the spinners, who are averaging 43.44. Now, the former West Indies pacer turned commentator Tony Gray is joining us on Zoom. And Tony, when we spoke to Phil Simmons, the coach, this week, Mariah asked him about going back with the same winning team. He declined. He said they needed to assess the pitch conditions and so on. But from where you sit, does the winning first Test team come back for this second assignment?
Yes, good afternoon to you, Lance. Good afternoon to your listeners and viewers. I think so. I think that if you look at that team, they played well as a team in all departments of the game. And obviously, the history of Old Trafford, it suits the faster bowlers. So I think that you have to go into the game with the 4 fast bowlers again.
Yeah, and anything about the first Test effort that suggests to you, or let me put it differently, that gives you confidence that this West Indies team can go on and win this series?
Yeah, definitely. I think that when you look at our batting, it was really concerning to everybody in the Caribbean because of the inexperience. And obviously, you have to make a lot of technical adjustments and tactical adjustments when batting in England because of the extreme different conditions. But what we saw was heart and determination. And what we saw was the young batsmen having the ability to deal with top-class fast bowlers and, batting with heart and determination. And that was good, but they needed to go on a little bit more. And as Coach Simmons said, centuries is what will create more and more pressure for the England side in the second Test match.
Yeah. How much stronger is this England team with Stuart Broad and Joe Root?
I think that when you look at the conditions, Stuart Broad, obviously tall, he's about 6'5". He depends sharply on bounce and movement, and he can bowl at 85, sometimes some deliveries 90 miles an hour. So I think that it would be stronger with him in the bowling department because it's a lot more consistent. Joe Root, on the other hand, would bat at number 3. He is the core of the English batting, and obviously with his experience and the ability to make centuries, I think it's going to be a much stronger side than in the first Test match.
Tony, can you talk to us a bit about the pitch at Old Trafford? What can we expect?
Well, I spoke to my good friend Phil Wallace, and he says that the pitch will seem about, will have bounce and pace, and it's going to be more suited for the faster bowler. So I suggest that we play the same side, but it's going to be a lot more testing for our batsmen. And I suggest too that the technical changes they must make would be foot speed and bat speed because the ball is going to swing off the pitch a little bit more.
With the performances by Shea Hope, 16 and 9, of course, many people are questioning his place on the squad. You said you wouldn't change the team, but would you shuffle the batting order?
No, I think that they had got it very right in the first, test match. It is not only about, the ability for batsmen to score runs, but in the right positions. And you have to balance your team. I mean, when you look at Shea Hope, he is a balanced batsman. He's got great experience in 2017, made 2 centuries at Headingley, a record-breaking feat. So I wouldn't change things too much. When you look at, the batting order, you had Campbell batting with Brathwaite, and Campbell is a stroke maker. Brathwaite could bat through the course of the winning innings. You have Brooks batting at 4, Hope at 3, and Chase, obviously Chase could bat for long periods. And then you had Blackwood, and Blackwood played fantastically well for his 95 in the second innings. So I think they have the balance, not with talent alone, but with the approaches to batting.
Were you surprised in any way by the exclusion of Rakeem Cornwall?
Yes, somewhat, because of the state of the pitch in Southampton. It was expected to favor spinners, especially in the latter parts of the innings or the match, and we saw that to a certain degree. The ball spun a little bit. But nevertheless, in hindsight, you cannot change the winning team, and we did well. The selectors did well. We won the game.
Well, Carlos Brathwaite, when he gave his comments on the game, he said he sees this West Indies team becoming the #1 test team in the future. Is he being a bit too far-fetched?
I think that we have the talent, we have the all-round ability in different departments of the game, but obviously we have to do a lot of things in our cricketing system, because our cricketing system is not as good as it should be. When we dominated world cricket and became #1 team in the world in not just Test cricket, but one-day internationals, we had a high level of performance in the regional competition, so that players made a transition. So I think, a little too far-fetched initially, but we have the talent. Once we can do what we have done in recent times, put the systems in place, we're going to see the team doing well in both formats of the game.
Yeah. Can you talk quickly, Tony, about the effect that Coach Phil Simmons has had on this team? Because we know he had a stint prior to now, and several of the players then are still with the setup now. You played regional cricket with Phil Simmons. You played international cricket with him as well. And he has, since his retirement, gone on to be a successful coach. How impactful do you think Phil has been with this unit as he prepares them for a rise up the world standings?
I think that's very impactful. I think that when you look at Philip as a player, and remember he had that near-death situation in Gloucestershire, England, when he was struck with a ball in his head. He has that unremitting desire, that unremitting skill, but he also has that motivational personality that seems to get the best out of players. So what I know from him as a player, having worked with him and played with him before in regional cricket competition, is that he is really determined. He's a determined coach, and he's really done well with the youngsters. So his motivational levels as a coach has been high, and you get the impression that players want to play for him.
All right. You spoke earlier on about not changing the winning team, and you also said, Tony, that this England team with Broad and Root will be stronger than the first Test team. What should the West Indies guard against here? Because the narrative coming out of the camp, both from the coach and the captain, is that they're not going to be complacent. They recognize it's a series. It's not a one-match victory that sets the tone for the series, and they have to apply themselves. But what would they have to guard against, and how much stronger can England be as they look to rebound here?
I don't think they will be complacent. I don't think you have to guard against complacency, because you're playing against England, one of the better sides in world cricket in England, and that's a very difficult proposition initially. So I don't think that the staff there, knowing not just Philip Simmons, but the other coaching staff, that they will be very adamant that these players stay focused. And the fact is that, this is a situation where players are institutionalized and they're not distracted. So I expect them to be very focused. They know that England are going to come very hard at them, and they would be aggressive. But what you don't want is batsmen getting good starts again and not carrying on. We have to put pressure on England from the start, and we have to play this test match to win this test match and not play for draw.
Joe Denley, an average of 29. He has been excluded now from the England side. Does this, benefit West Indies in any way?
No, because Root is going to come back. And at that number 3 position, you want somebody who is astute, who has experience, who can bat for long periods, and who obviously has a chip on his shoulder. And obviously, Root coming back into that number 3 position, he would want to do well for England. Now, England has to win the next 2 games to get back the Wisdom Trophy. So they will have to go and play positive cricket, not ultra aggressive cricket, but positive cricket in all departments of the game.
Tony, I wrote an article about Jason Holder before the test started, and I was really concerned about his form. I was concerned about him just coming off that injury and bouncing back in the manner in which he did. Obviously, I had to apologize. How impressed are you with Jason Holder?
Very impressed. It is not hard in the West Indies to captain any side because of the nature of West Indies cricket. You're dealing with people from all over the region, different personalities, different backgrounds, different socio-economic backgrounds. It's not easy at all. And we have not given, in the past, West Indies captains great credit because of the nature of being a leader in that level of cricket, and also, in our cricket system. Now, Jason Holder is a seam bowling all-rounder, so there's a lot of stress on him already. And to captain a young, inexperienced side, I give him a lot of credit. And just last year I was on another program, and I said he was a cloning of Clive Lloyd. And it seems to be that way. He's cool and calm, seems to be very unflappable at times, where anybody can get angry. He's improved tactically as a captain.
Tony Greig, always a pleasure talking to you, and we'll be monitoring Old Trafford over the next 5 days and wishing the West Indies all the best. Thanks for talking to us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and Mariah, you know that the West Indies have had the tendency in the past to start series slowly and then try catching up. But they've gone the other route now. They've gone out fast. They've taken the lead. They've won the first test match. And it's up to them now to ensure that they don't relinquish the stranglehold they have on the series. But this is a good sign because more often than not, the West Indies is a little sloppy at the start of a series and end up trying to make gains after that. What
I like is, we have one up, basically. So we're going in with an advantage, and it's only up from here. So as we go to the break, remember to catch Alex Jordan on the line with 2 of the SportsMax Zone hosts, George Davis and Lance Whitaker, this evening at 6 p.m., 7 ECT on SportsMax, and 8 as well as 9 ECT on Scene TV.
George Davis, before Lancelot Whitaker disappears, I just wanted to have you both on here to tell you that one of the guests that I interviewed in this series was world famous Cat Core from Third World. And for some reason I referenced you. And he goes, his whole face light up, George. He's like, oh, yeah, George Davis, that man is a dresser, though. No, man, he's always perfect. And it really hurt me because I knew how much you would enjoy it. The sartorial splendor, get shout out.
Why the hate?